and welcome to Politics Around the World right here on Enterprise Television. This is your short plug for everything international politics from Nigeria, Africa, region around the world. I am Henry Igwebike, and today, as usual, we would be looking at breathtaking issues happening in Africa and equally around the world. Enterprise Television it is. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. All right, so what started as a bit dramatic issue, lots of people would love to say Act 1, Scene 1. And of course, it's the feud between France and the United States of America as regards Greenland. What's happening there? Allies are becoming enemies, unfortunately. And this is the first time it is happening in decades, especially after the World War II. Well, in what lots of people would say, a press conference that will stick with cameras and careful words. A French official who leaned into the microphone and warned of what he called a Bazooka Tariff aimed at the United States of America. Would you have believed that, ladies and gentlemen? But the phrase traveled faster than the policy itself, echoing across newsroom and trading floors. Now, it sounded dramatic, like I said in my opening statement, even violent, but it wasn't a weapon of war. It was a metaphor. In trade language, a bazooka is not subtle. It means a large, sweeping tariff designed to hit hard and get attention. France was signaling that if a dispute escalated over technology, taxes, subsidies, or trade imbalances, it was prepared to impose heavy import taxes on American goods. Now, lots of people would say, is there a tooth for that between Emmanuel Macron and his old good friend Donald J. Trump? Lots of people would ask. But not a narrow penalty, ladies and gentlemen, on a single product, but a broad measure meant to pressure Washington to negotiate. Remember, Donald J. Trump had said that any country that comes to the aid of Greenland, it's already imposing 25% tax on every country that has done that. Germany started with that, but of course it went back home. Lots of people will say, why would Germany, a very great country, a very great nation, chicken out when it is time for them to act? Now, to understand what this would mean for America, especially with the retaliation by France for the part of a tariff, when France places a high tax on the United States of America's exports, American companies selling into the French market suddenly would face higher costs. A bottle of California wine, for example, a piece of farm equipment, or a software-related services becomes more expensive for French buyers, truth be told, and sales might definitely drop. Exporters feel the pinch first. The effect then ripple outward, because most of the time people will say maybe the French people would feel the brunt more, but of course it's going to, cascade back and boomerang on where the source is coming from. Reduced exports can mean lower revenues for the U.S. firms, which may respond by cutting investment, now slowing hiring or raising prices elsewhere to compensate. Now, farmers and manufacturers alike, and equally specialized industries that rely on European market, are especially vulnerable. Financial markets, for example, sensitive to uncertainty, may react with volatility as investors anticipate retaliation. There is also a political consequence to all of this. Lots of people will say maybe it's just economic, but there are political consequences, some of them. And let me read out some of them, if you may. A bazooka tariff is meant to force a response. Especially now that it's coming from France to the United States might retaliate with tariff of its own. Already it has 25% to that, but pulling both sides into a trade standoff that raises prices for consumers on both continents. Or it might push leaders back to the negotiation table, which Donald J. Trump knows how to do, where the threat of economic damage becomes a leverage for compromise. In that sense, the bazooka is less about destruction than deterrence. France's message is not that it wants a trade war, because if it's never on the part of a trade war for a bid, but that it is willing to fight one if necessary. Remember, France has been there even before United States of America. Now, what does this mean for America? The warning is clear. Unresolved trade disputes don't stay abstract. They show up in prices, paychecks, and politics long before any agreement or signed, or equally any tariff is lifted. Now, these and many more are some of the consequences that would come with this trade duo brief between the United States and France, and not just France but the whole of Europe, because every country that is going on the side of Greenland and trying to protect it is coming on the force of the United States of America. Lots of people will say the Monroe Doctrine is playing its card yet again, especially made possible by Donald J. Trump. How far will this go, really? And the question is, will United States, find a way of maybe going against this tide that is slowly, cutting it in pieces? Lots of people would say. The United States is a very wonderful country. Sometimes the Republicans would come do their thing, and you think maybe the country will fall on its toes. But when the Democrats come, they have a way of managing, issues like this, like it happened in the first term of Donald J. Trump. Joe Biden came, lifted all the sanctions against different countries. Donald J. Trump is back again and is doing the same thing like he did, or even worse when he started it in his first term in office. How would this go, ladies and gentlemen? I do not know. But right here on Enterprise Television, we promise to bring them to you as they unfold. So leave the comment on the comment section and let us know who would win the fight between the United States and France. Good ally, NATO members, but they are not seeing eye to eye right now as a result of the rift between both leaders, Macron and Donald J. Trump. That's all we have on politics around the world today. Please do well to follow us if you may. You can find us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. I am Henry Gwibike. Until next time, I'll see you on politics around the world. Have yourself a splendid day. Bye-bye.